Hey, Bills fans, promise to get on the regular with you guys with coverage. And so here I go. I did a podcast about the AFC East, covered all 4 teams, but the Bills made a few moves post that video. And in addition to the ones they made prior, it has me making this second kind of coverage of where the Bills are at post FA to kind of say, I think they're doing a sneaky good job so far where they're at. I still think the draft is going to be absolutely critical, but there was some nice moves, and when I keep looking at it, I think Bean is doing a very good job. Some question marks to these things here, but if these question marks shape up, they're going to have a very, very tough team. And as I said, if they do well in this draft coming up. Still have one big concern. I'll get to that at the end. But overall, a lot of people looking down on the Bills. A lot of people looking past them a little bit. I'd even say I did a little bit too, especially because Rodgers going to the Jets is going to be a tough addition. Pats look like they're stepping up, and my Dolphins did a ton of work too. But Bills, I know the last 2 seasons, 21 and 22, were prime years for you guys to get that dream and make it happen. But I think the AFC still got to watch out. Bean might have you guys on a path to do some serious damage again in the AFC East in 2023. So I just want to say thanks for stopping by. The likes, the subscribes, the comments are key to keeping this thing going. I love doing what I'm doing. So thanks for helping me out along the way. I really do appreciate that. I want to give you guys a shout out and a shout out to Ace Per Head, my sponsor. Because without you, without them, this show ain't going down. Ace Per Head's betting software is the premier white label platform for bookies to manage their players and grow their sportsbook operation. Click the link in the description below to get set up in minutes. Ask for the Curtis promo and get a special introductory discount. All right, so like I said, I did a podcast wrapping up the AFC East. And for the Bills, to me, it was resolving that middle linebacker position. It's because you guys run the nickel all day. So you got to have that nickel look in order to kind of run what you've been running for years. Seeing some development in some of these younger corners you picked up last year. Also, the rejuvenation of White. And then really on the offensive line, that was really my key unit. Oh, yeah, and some D-tackle help as well. Stopping a run is critical. Although, unfortunately, my Dolphins don't look like they're really pressing the run attack. So it's going to be important, but not as critical as I may have thought, because I don't know if I think Dolphins are going to be going to fun and gun in 2023. So the additions of Connor McGovern, Jordan Poyer, who you brought back, was huge. Deontay Hardy, David Edwards is a new guy that I didn't have covered in that podcast. Trent Sherfield, I don't know if I covered him. I don't think I did. Damian Harris, I did. Kyle Allen, I didn't. And Taylor Rapp, I did. And I believe Taylor Rapp, I didn't. And Quisenberry, I did. Now, to me, McGovern and Edwards are really important. That offensive line has some serious issues. Dawkins, he's good. And then on the other side, Brown, I don't know. I think right tackle, there's going to be some good right tackles at that 20 spot. And I don't know. I'm going back and forth on DT, LB, or RT for you guys. But McGovern is a good player for you. He's not great. He struggles in the run game. But he can play center, he can play tackle, he can play guard, and that's really important. I'm going to cover really how critical depth is, especially in the AFC East. And so he fills a really good role for you. He's kind of cheap. You got him 3 years for $22 million. So maybe not so cheap, sort of cheap, $7 million a year. And then David Edwards, he is a guy that struggled last year with 2 concussions, got shut down. But if you look at him the prior 2 seasons, he was excellent. Very good pass blocker, can run block. And so he was had on the cheap. You got him for 1 year under $2 million. Now, the concussion thing, I don't know about that. But that's a nice pickup. All right, so Edwards worked with Cromer. Cromer helped get him together. And this could be a good pairing. You know, Cromer, a lot of people were blaming him last year. Like, why wasn't the offensive line better? To me, it still goes down to some serious philosophy issues, but there was a talent issue there as well. But with Edwards and McGovern at that left guard spot to fill in for Saffold. Saffold is a run blocker and not such a great pass blocker, but you guys pass all day, and McGovern and Edwards does fit the bill. One guy don't work, you got the other guy, and you got some depth just in case you pick up somebody good in the draft. Then Sherfield, you got him from us. He's a really good run blocker, good pass blocker, savvy guy, tough. He is a nice guy to add to your roster, and maybe he can give you a little hint, clues on what's going on with McDaniel to give you some kind of little edge. He's going to play with a chip on his shoulder against the Dolphins. So I thought that was a really good pickup. And obviously I got the star, the blue squares that I got here under Edwards and Rapp are guys that they have potential to have a major impact. Don't know if they're going to, but they have that potential. And then the purple ones, which I got around Sherfield and Harris, these guys are real nice pickups that could do some nice little magic because they're division players that played on opposing division teams. And that's always a nice edge when you're playing division opponents, 6 times a year. So Poyer, I put the star around him because the guy's a superstar. And the fact that you got Poyer, they were going to get Rapp to replace Poyer. All right, so now you got Poyer, you got Rapp, and you got Hyde. And that gives you depth. I'm going to get into Rapp a second. I did some studies on him, and he's very intriguing. But you guys got that big nickel look right here. You don't have Edmonds, and he's a real important guy. But Rapp, he ran a 4.76, which is real slow for a safety. Struggles in coverage, but a lot of the struggles isn't. Some of it I saw was some, poor reads here and there, but it was just his inability to have the speed to play over the top. And I thought he played a little nervous because he knew he was slow and cover 2 or even man. So I like him coming in the big nickel. I like him playing in that up-in-the-box safety for you guys. I think this guy could be a really good – because, listen, last year the Dolphins gave you a run for your money. They beat you at home, but you guys didn't have a secondary that game, and we're playing in the volcano. And then we pushed you to the edge the next 2 games, but I don't think we're running the football. I think that we're going to continue to pass, and Rapp as a linebacker in a nickel is a very good thing for you guys with our pass game and our finesse run style and somewhat poor run blockers. So I like him against Miami, who's your number 1 challenger, as we saw last year. And I like him, too, if you go against the Jets, because they're going to, especially if Rodgers gets there, because they're going to be passing a lot, but they still can run the football. So you can bring him in with Milano and have a pretty decent big nickel look. I think this guy, if you watch him, he's a really good tackler, ultra aggressive, ultra physical, just a coverage thing. I don't really like him if you guys, if Hyde or Poyer goes down to play in that cover 2 at the top, although maybe he gets some coaching and he gets it figured out a little bit to compensate for his lack of speed, which really it shouldn't be that big of a deal when you're playing cover 2. But anyway, I like that pick for you guys. So then Kylan, I thought, was a nice addition at quarterback. Quisenberry, the guy can play. He's more of a run blocker than a pass blocker, but that's some depth and experience. I don't think he's ever going to see the inside, which I thought at this stage of his career he's probably better at. So he's a backup, probably to Brown, and also if Dawkins goes down. But I don't think that's the best because I've seen him start to get beat a lot by speed. But it's a nice, solid fill. Could be 8th or 9th guy, depending on how many you guys get. And then Deontay Hardy, small guy. He's like 160 pounds. Reminds me a little bit Cook, but a lot smaller. He can be dangerous. He's quick. He's sudden. He's got some speed. And he can work out for you guys as maybe that nickel back in the wide receiver group. Return guy. I think he does returns. But just a guy that can even come out of the backfield because he has had some jet sweeps and some runs a little bit. So the guy's a little dangerous. He's a nice little piece to add in there along with Sherfield. And really, this whole group here kind of fills some holes in. Not exactly what you'd want, but it's pretty close, and it brings a lot of depth. This offensive line with these 3 guys in there has some solid depth. And with that first, second, and third round pick, you could get a center in the second. You could pick up a tackle with the first. I don't think you go in 2 offensive linemen. Some people are saying go with wide receiver. Now, this is where I'm going to start to get into the concerns a little bit. I think you guys have built a phenomenal roster for a couple of years now. I think what you're doing here is a solid to above solid job, especially at this early age with the little that you're spending. But the philosophy standpoint has been the primary issue. For you guys who have been watching me a while, I've been saying it. You need pass balance. You need some real legitimate run game in there. Some runs from Allen under center so you can get legitimate play action. So, you've got to develop some kind of belief that it's not just Allen running left, running right, Allen draw, Allen throwing, and occasionally a token screen or a draw, I should say. If you guys can get past balance, you're going to go really, really far. I don't think there's any team that could stop you. If teams have to come up to bite that on that run and give Allen extra space over the top or in the middle or allow him to boot to the outside freely with a lot of freedom, I don't know what you do to stop this kid. Now, McGovern, not a great run blocker. Edwards, he's shown some decent run blocking ability. Brown, your right tackle, struggled. Morse, not so good. Dawkins, not so good. Bates, not so good. Dawkins can be okay because he's kind of a bigger guy. And I also got to take into account all the draws you got kind of gives these guys their grades. And draws are not really a fair way to judge a run blocker. It's a whole different story when you're shooting out and attacking rather than if you're, doing this and trying to shield and stuff. It doesn't work. And you can't get into rhythm when you're doing so few run blocks through the course of preseason and through week to week and through game to game. So I think there's a room for this team to add one good run blocker. And that could even be a tight end. Now, Knox, he's not, it's not Gronk on the edge, but he's solid, So to get some kind of blocking is going to be key. Now, I'm just not sure if you guys are going to go to pass balance. I'm still worried you guys are going to stick with fun ball. But if you do stick with fun ball, besides the good blockers that you brought in, there's one real great key. You guys have struggled with blocking from the running back position for a long time. There hasn't been a good run blocker there, except for McGilliam is not bad. But Damian Harris, I spoke quickly on him. I don't know if you guys are going to go pass balance. I have to believe you're going to run a little bit more. But this guy can pass block. He's a guy you can put back there and believe that he's going to take care of the guy he needs to take care of and give Allen that extra time. And so if you do this fun ball system or even slightly reduced fun ball, not fully pass balance, Damian Harris is a big, big element to that. So many times you guys, were really getting hurt by the blocking, but also the running backs really not being able to take care of their guy. And you need that. So I like what you're doing if it's fun ball. I'm a little concerned about fun ball in general, but overall, this group of free agents at the price you got them for, considering, you let Edmonds go, and I don't think you're going to get a guy here that's going to take your third-round compensatory pick from you. And I think that this guy, that third-round compensatory pick is going to be a big piece towards next year's puzzle. You got to start restocking. So I really like what Bean's done. I'm really hoping you guys go to pass balance. I don't know. It might mean you are, but you guys, I'm going to be watching this draft. If you nail this draft, kind of like what you did last year, I think I'm going to get a little worried. Congratulations on a solid free agency. It's not, you can only do what you can do with, considering everything you got. I would be happy with what I've had, but I'm definitely going to keep my eyes, if I were a Bills fan, locked on this draft and locked on hopefully an adjustment in the philosophy of this offense. So anyway, thanks for stopping by. You guys, I know you're a beleaguered fan base, just like my Dolphins here. So I do hope the best for you guys. Obviously not to compromise my team, but good luck in this draft. Good luck in the season coming up. And this is going to be one heck of a ride. If your franchise and my franchise are not minding their P's and Q's and ace this draft, and the Bills and the Pats do, we might find ourselves in not a happy position. That's how tight I think this race is going to be. It's going to be fun football for football lovers, but it's going to be a hard ride, guys, this year. So anyway, Kurt saying, catch you next time. Be well. See you soon. Building your own online sports book today by getting signed up with aceperhead.com service that'll allow you to book action on sports from all around the world.